Alright, it is time for the impressions of the final elite spec of, I think it's day 3 now, day 2, something like that. I don't know, the beta went up and went down again. But I am ending today with Troubadour, which I had zero expectations for. I did not really main Mesmer, I didn't really play Mesmer full stop until I leveled one recently. So I got a little bit of a basis for it. But this is fun as fuck. I'm terrible at it, and it does zero damage in my hands. But just the concept of how you were supposed to play it is really, really fun and really fast. They basically made Piano Mesmer. At least with the way the build's set up for how I'm playing it, it's Piano Mesmer, essentially. But that being said, it is really, really fun to just press buttons and do things in the right order to build up to the right combo to hit the button and then do 1.4k DPS. So, I'm not going to be able to, like, make a really good build for this, but when someone does, I'm going to play the absolute shit out of it. That's pretty much what's going to happen, is whoever can theorycraft Mesmer better than me, you have an absolute field day with this, and then when I find... This will be like the only class I look at a meta battle build for, because I'm not going to be able to make one that does reasonable damage, I don't think. I don't understand how this class gets all of its damage. But in regards to just enjoyment of the concept, the theme, and like the spec itself, genuinely fire. So the way this thing works is you basically have like summons of sorts, which I didn't expect in the slightest. The way they made this look is not how it plays at all. Not at all. Like, I was gonna end on Troubadour, and, or no, I was gonna do Troubadour in the middle, and then I was gonna end on Antiquary, but we decided to flip it around because, Keith wanted me to do Indiana Jones instead. And holy fuck, if I ended on Antiquary, I would have been miserable. I would have gone from playing Piano Mesmer and having a crazy good time to getting my ass handed to me by fucking teleport backfiring on someone's face. So, how does this work effectively? You press a lot of buttons. That's how this works. So you get this little note system, and this is like blade stocking essentially from Virtuoso. But instead, you want to use all of these on the shatters, and they work the exact same way as the blades. So if you just use anything that would give you clones, you just auto stock blades. So if I'm in combat here and I pop mirror images, I just immediately get notes. So in this case, you then have multiple ways to spend the notes. You can either use them on the loot, which does power damage. It's the same correlation to normal Mesmer. Power Shatter, Condi Shatter, CC Shatter, heal button, and then Crescendo. Now, the way Crescendo works is you do more damage and more barrier the more instruments you have playing at the same time. Because you'll see right there, it has the loot playing in the background as well after you use it, based on how many notes you use when you use the thing, which is really cool. So it's, like I said, it's like a mini summoner class of sorts, which I did not expect. And I was thinking about, like, what does this remind me of? And it reminds me of Bard in Lost Ark. I played a little bit of it, but, like, the harp, for example, just really reminds me of it, because the AoE heal, like, that is ripped straight from Lost Ark, and I am so here for it. I'm 100% not mad at all. So, with that, the second one will do all of the condition damage, and then the third one will be the crowd control. So you want to try and rotate through as many of the notes as possible to get all three of them up, and then pop your crescendo with the maximum duration and get crazy damage and or barrier from it. However, if you use the elite skill, it will actually give you a longer duration on all of your instruments based on how many instruments you have at the same time. So this can also be used to give you all instruments immediately. So I don't know if it's better to start the fight with this and get 3 seconds of each, or to have all of your instruments up first, press it, and then use crescendo afterwards. Because you could literally just do this into crescendo into fight start, right? You can literally just do that, and nothing says you can't, and then you just go into fucking around afterwards. But if you want to do it the other way, you gotta do a little bit of pianoing. So, I'm gonna do a whole lot of things. I hope it looks cool, because I have to stare at my skill bar to pull this off correctly. Because you have to basically generate 3, 6, 9, 12 clones in the span of 20 seconds to then extend them all and crescendo. And then you can play the class. And then you're going and playing like upkeep afterwards. So it's really, really fun. But you do it all for like 1.4k DPS. Like I said, what I've created sucks balls, but it is really fun to play. Okay, so let me show you what I mean. Let me just waste a fucking clones real fast. Alright. We'll just let that time out, and then we will get into combat. So, in this case, it has full Selly. I mean, I'm probably not going to make a build guide because it's not really worth talking about, but here's the build for me to reference at some point, because I probably will. Chaos with the staff stuff. You can use this one if you're in open world, because it'll give you resets on your spells and stuff. Illusions, you run both of these because then the Phantasms get quickness, then you get quickness when it becomes a clone from the Phantasmal Warlock and Phantasmal Disenchanter. Shatter skills are improved. I don't know if that's better than Malicious Sorcery, because this might bench higher with the fucking confusion damage. I don't know. I'm going all in on the instruments, bro. I'm a one-man band. And honestly, I'm glad they didn't give this to Engineer, because Amalgam fucks. So I am quite happy with this. Oh yeah, this is the crazy part, by the way. Mayhem. Heal yourself when you apply Confusion or Torment. This means it is so godlike with the staff. It is just absolutely crazy. Genuinely. And like, this does enough power damage that it's actually playable as a solo DPS spec, which I didn't expect whatsoever. I thought this was going to be only support, like raw healer, like Paragon is. The fact that Warrior Paragon is like 95% raw support, and fucking Bard Mesmer has crazy power damage possible. Not, okay, not crazy. I said 1.4k. But just the fact that it's like has interaction with staff and, you know, can do some really fun stuff is it's really interesting. Okay, so then we go over to Harmonize here, and you'll get even more outgoing healing and damage per instrument playing. So this synergizes with having the instruments buffs going at the same time. And then some of your other stuff will grant you notes, which is basically just clones, air quotes, you know, like charges, basically. And then the final one will give you a whole bunch of different stuff. So in this case, you can get an after image that plays, doing extra stuff. Crescendo plays your last played instrument, which means you need to play things in specific orders, which is way too much for me right now. And then this one, which makes it so after using it, you gain a note every interval, which means when you go into upkeep mode, it gets a little bit easier. So let me just vomit my face on the fucking keyboard, and I'll show you what I mean here. So first thing you want to do in the build that I'm running is we will get Tails. Tails grant a note and then recharge their corresponding instrument. So in this case, Tails of the Soul Keeper, the only one that I found that looked kind of cool. This one gives you Alacrity, but then it also gives you two notes if your loot's playing, which then goes up to 3 with this node. So that means we want to lead with the power loot, and we want to immediately gen as much as possible. So we're going to lead with Warlock into Disenchanter, which will give us 3 nodes. We then play Reverberating Loot, which will give us our power damage plus the loot behind us. We can then tap this, which will then allow us to tap the Flustering Loot, because we'll immediately go to 3 notes, and then from there we Mirror Image, Phase Retreat, and we can then go into either the Drum or the Harmonious Harp. From there you can extend all 3 of those, because now you're out of clones, and then pop Crescendo. So the reason we go for that is because this will do damage, this will do damage, this will do damage, this one heals you. It's a support one, right? You can also make this do Alacrity with this one if you want. That gives you the AoE distortion, but yeah. So I'll show you what that looks like, and then I'll show you the 2.4k DPS it fucking gives you after playing a piano. Okay, let's go. We pop these, we wait for it, the guitar hits, then we use this, and then we use this, then we use this, and then we use this, and then we use a crescendo for 13k. And then we go into a staff rotation, like so, using whatever we can manage. And then we play the guitar. We got all of them back again. And DPS 461. 461 damage per second. Oh, we love that. I don't know if that tracks correctly because of, you know, confusion, not doing any damage, just not doing any skills. Torment, it's stationary, so I guess it does extra damage. But then the phantasms are doing damage, and I don't know if the phantasms count as your damage, you know, all the fucking extra shit. But yeah, I mean, it's really cool to have the crescendo go off. So that's fun. It feels great to play. My results are underwhelming. So someone will figure this out. When they do, it will be exceptional.